The mace is one of the best weapons in all of Minecraft, and I've never gotten one before. So I thought before I get the spear and fully upgrade that, it would only be necessary to get one of the weapons that has been in the game way longer. So this is my journey through multiple trial chambers to get a mace and fully upgrade it. My journey starts by getting all of the necessary resources in order to fight in the trial chamber. So I had to get some bad omen potions, refill my food source, which was some golden carrots, and grab some totems and gold apples just in case. Like I said in the intro, I've never gotten a mace before, and I've also never raided a trial chamber all by myself. So I had no clue what I was getting myself into. So I went to my first trial chamber, dug all the way down until I reached it, and then I instantly drank the bad omen potion. Now, I had no clue what to do, so I started walking around and stuff started to spawn, and I just started to kill it right away. I also didn't know you needed the bigger keys to get the heavy core from one of the bigger chests, so in this first trial chamber, I was just kinda clueless. I went to each room fighting different mobs, which were relatively easy, and I just kept going. I got a bunch of random resources, and then I got my first key. Now, this is the key for the trial vaults, so I opened one up, and the loot was good, but since I'm already maxed out, it wasn't the best. Once again, I kept moving forward and finding more rooms to fight more of the mobs. I kept repeating this process until I found this one room. This is the room where I first encountered the Breeze. I had never fought one before, so it was pretty interesting going against them. Once again, these mobs were no match for me and my gear, so I would just run through the trials like no other. After I killed all the Breezes, I got a different type of bad omen potion, and I had no clue what this was. So I had to go on Google and look up what it was. Now, since I already activated every fight in the trial chamber, it takes about 30 minutes for it all to reset, which means if I wanted to get this mace as soon as possible, well within 1 hour, I would have to find some more trial chambers. Luckily, there were 2 more really close to my base, and now we go into the second trial chamber. As soon as I got into the trial chamber, I drank the different potion. It said that this would activate harder fights, which in return would give me the ominous vaults, which would hopefully, in a short amount of time, give me a heavy core. I'm foreshadowing it was not quick. So I dropped down and started fighting all these different types of mobs. With the harder potion, every mob had better weapons, armor, and the fights took a little bit longer. But once again, I was still too strong for them since I am maxed out in netherite gear. The second trial chamber is where stuff starts to get somewhat good. After killing those first 3 levels in the trial chamber, I finally got my first key for an ominous vault. Now all I had to do was leave this room and find one of the vaults to open and hopefully get a heavy core. So that's exactly what I did. I opened my first vault and I once again got some good stuff, but not the one thing that I needed. And this seems to be a pretty consistent phenomenon for these trial chambers, as the one thing I want has to be obviously the hardest thing to get. After fighting all the main rooms, I found this one room that has multiple layers of just straight skeletons. Now this was starting to get really fun, as I could just activate all 4 spawners and go to the top level and fight the top skeletons while the bottom ones try to come up, and they would actually shoot each other on accident and basically just start killing each other. These fights took way longer and took a lot more of my health than the other rooms because these spawners were so close to each other. But oh boy, were these fights so worth it. I got 2 to 3 ominous keys from this one room, which made it all worthwhile, as well as I made my chances of getting a heavy core way higher. Also, I don't know what it is, but the structure or room in the trial chamber was only in 2 out of the 3 trial chambers, so I don't know if it just couldn't find it in the other room or if it was completely random for one of those rooms to spawn. After a little while longer, I finished my second trial chamber fully, which means once again I had to find another trial chamber or wait another 15 minutes for the other one to fully reset, because I beat this full trial chamber in only 15 minutes. So guess what I did? I went and found another one, and this one was huge. As I was about to dig down, I kept getting touched by all these zombies, so I made sure that I Swiss cheesed all of them before starting to dig down. And once again, after digging down for about 1 minute, I found it. Since I still had the effect from the other trial chambers with the bad omen potions, I didn't have to drink another one. I could just run around and fight all the fights once again. So that's exactly what I started to do. Now, this was one of the most confusing and weirdly placed trial chambers ever. Half of the rooms didn't even exist, and the ones that did usually only had 1 single spawner. Still, I kept moving from room to room, fighting through every one I could find, hoping for an ominous key. Luckily, after my first fight in this chamber, I actually got one. So I went under the spot I had dropped down from and opened the vault with all hope and excitement of finally getting a mace. But that dream got crushed instantly. So once again, I ran around searching for rooms. Some had random stairwells, others had multiple empty chambers with no spawners at all. And before long, it felt like I was just going in circles. Eventually, I found another spawner. This one was filled with Breezes. I fought them off, and after about 20 to 30 seconds of battling, they did the only nice thing they could possibly do. Dropped cooked potatoes. After fighting one of the most annoying mobs in Minecraft, that was the reward I got. Anyways, I moved on to the next room, still hoping to get another key. Then I came across a room with 2 separate spawners, but I knew right away they'd be low-level mobs, and of course, I was right. It was just a bunch of slimes. They swarmed me non-stop, splitting up and falling into random spots, so even though they were weak, it took a while to clear them all. After another minute of fighting, I got rewarded again with not 1, but 2 food items, cooked potatoes and cooked steak. How generous, Minecraft. With my hopes slowly fading away, I pushed forward to the next room. After fighting 2 more slime spawners, I was about ready to call it quits and head home. These rooms were making everything so annoying. Fighting mobs just to get food was not exactly what I had in mind when I thought of trial chambers and the hard mobs I was facing. But then I found the room I needed. This one changed everything. It was the skeleton room, like in the trial chamber before, with multiple layers stacked on top of each other. And seeing it honestly made me so happy I might have drooled just a little bit. Like, actually. I activated all the layers, climbed up to the top, and let the skeletons fight each other while I picked them off one by one. It was the perfect strategy. The fight lasted about 5 minutes, but it was worth it. I ended up with 5 ominous keys from that one room alone, so it was a total game changer. Now, all I needed to do was find 5 vaults. The first one was right there in the skeleton room, so I opened it, but nothing good. I moved on to the next one, again, nothing. But as the saying goes, 3rd time's the charm, and it really was this time. In the 3rd trial chamber I raided, I opened the 3rd chest from the skeleton fights, and finally got the heavy core I've been wanting and drooling over for so long. That was the moment I'd been waiting for. I used up my last 2 keys, checked the loot, and then decided it was time to head back to base. Now all that was left was to craft the mace and fully enchant this thing like I've been hoping and praying for. And honestly, I wish it were that simple just to make the mace and fully upgrade it. But you know, me and my autistic self had to completely forget that I have a raid potion effect, and about 45 villagers in my basement. And no, don't ask any questions. You definitely don't want the answers, and I definitely don't want to give you any. So yeah, I went down into my base and made the mace, slowly upgrading as I fought off the raid. The raid lasted way longer than I thought it would be, but it was relatively fun since I've never used a mace before. I did get wind charge 1, but I didn't have 3 yet, so I needed to either get them from a villager or go back to a trial chamber. My smart self thought you could get them from villagers since it was my first ever mace, and you can get so many different enchantments from villagers. After about an hour of trying, I finally decided to use my brain and look up if you could get wind charge from a villager. And guess what? You can't. So that wasted so much of my time. Well, not completely, because I did get a villager with thorns and another one with feather falling 4, which were the only enchantments my armor still needed to be maxed out. So I used my brain and bought like 10 thorns books and 1 feather falling book. This was also when I realized I wish I hadn't upgraded that bow at the start of this whole video, because now I needed a ton of XP to upgrade everything fully, and well, I had like none. So I grabbed a bunch of stone from my terraforming project, which is absolutely insane and massive, and started trading with the Mason villagers. And yes, I have like 20 of them. After trading for about 30 minutes, I finally got enough XP to enchant my last piece of armor, my boots. Also, tell me why I never plan for the future and only think about what's happening in the moment, because honestly, I could have prepared so much better and probably finished this in 1 hour instead of 2. Anyways, the mace is really fun to use, and I like how it bounces you up when you fall and hit something. Even though I'm terrible at using it and I literally miss every single swing of the mace, it's still super fun to use for the first time. And yeah, that was my journey to my first ever mace in Minecraft. In a future video, we'll max out a spear, and I'm just waiting for my mods to update for 1.21.10 like discussed.